G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because you know I'm a proud New South Welshman. And this was like the best performance from the Waratahs for a very, very, very long time, to be really honest with you. One of the biggest problems these days, I think, not just the Waratahs, with a lot of the Super Rugby, I think Australian players specifically, is that the players are just a little bit too nice. Everybody is, is a bit of a coffee, soy milk coffee drinker, and just, yeah, really wasn't tough enough. Like, sometimes they're tough, but they're just not persistent in that mental toughness. I talk about this almost every week on this channel, how the teams likes to, milk penalties. Worse last year and much better this year. Like to milk penalties and just try to take the easy way out to win a match. And the Waratahs under Dan McKellar definitely improved a little bit from that idea, but still wasn't able to get out of that mental struggle of let's just cling on to a few penalties and try to win by just hoping that your opposition is making mistakes and handing you 3 points. And that was very, very bad in the final match in the Super Rugby games. The Waratahs played, I think it was against might be against the Chiefs. It was just horrendous in the final game, and just the team walked out, kicked a couple penalties, and just rolled over. And from that to this performance tonight, where the players fought tooth and nails to the end, to the last minute of the game, and keeping the Lions out from scoring a try. The Lions very pride on themselves on blowing out the opposition by a bajillion points. It's like, especially the last game against the Reds, they've already won the game, and the risk of everybody getting injured and playing an extra 4 minutes to just score a consolation try doesn't really mean anything to make the scoreboard look just a little bit better. The Lions tried to do that again tonight, and then the Waratahs shut them out, which was just outstanding effort. The work rate for some of these forwards, Sinclair, Campbell, just outstanding. The turnover rate was just, it's something that I think these guys were very proud of from Darby Lancaster under the high ball, running over Keenan. Keenan, a lot of people think that he's the best fullback in the world. I disagree. I think Blair Kinghorn is probably the best fullback, not in the world, but in the Northern Hemisphere. And the giraffe man, right? The giraffe from Blair Kinghorn, the giraffe man from Scotland, was put on the wing for some reason. But still, it was outstanding effort from the Waratahs. And it kind of made me think, right? The British and Irish Lions, it's kind of like the Cybertruck, right? It looks shiny. It looks, on paper, it looks really fast, and kind of futuristic design, and everybody is just a bit of a, it makes all the kids, very excited and to seeing something different, something that's perceived to be quite rare, and then you take it outdoors and you can't drive up a little ditch, right? And that's exactly what the British and Irish Lions kind of feels like to me. Looks good on the outside, but really, when the pressure came on, as you shown tonight, the amount of test caps out there was just multiple folds. Maybe 10-fold of that is of the Waratahs on the field, and yet they barely scraped out a win. It's just, I think it's not really what everybody expecting. I think this was again really good effort on the Waratahs, and I think the Lions, maybe the addition of Owen Farrell is starting to get away with the Lions, the men's heart a little bit. One thing I thought the Lions play really, but one thing I have to say is that the Lions started to play more and more like England tonight, to be honest. The up and unders, the inaccuracy on the up and unders as well, and just really just really, some of the kicking game they were playing were just literally like punting the ball down the field, especially like towards the end of the game. They were just punting the ball down the field at like 50, 60 meters, and the ball would just roll into the dead balls area. And then, Darby Lancaster just like, all right, I'm just going to ground this for a goal line dropout. That is a sign where the team don't want to play rugby. You just want to punt the ball down the field as far as you can, and then let the opposition kick the ball back to you. And hopefully you gain a few meters from the kick exchange. That's what England does, and that's becoming more and more evident. Obviously there were a lot of England players out there becoming a bit more Yeah, maybe the Owen Farah addition is starting to creep into players' mentality as well. But yeah, overall, I did not think this was a good performance from the Lions. In any sense whatsoever. The only guy that did good was, of course, the guy that played well against Argentina, Ellis Genji. Ironically, another Englishman, the only guy who did his job. The scrum, to be honest, I thought the scrum was 50-50 in the first half. Paul Williams, the referee, seems to have maybe read the news that the Lions have a terrible scrum, and then he decided to change that on his own will, right? He came on, there were a lot of 50-50 calls. You could literally say that the team stood up together and he penalized the Waratahs, and you can also say that the scrum kind of collapsed at the same time. Or like maybe the Lions wasn't holding their weight, especially in the first half. Not very obvious who's at fault, and he penalized Waratahs multiple times for that. It was only until second half when Ellis Genji came on, when it was, definitive win for the scrummaging for the British and Irish Lions. So it looks like Genji probably going to get a looser position. Unfortunately, I don't think we got to see much of Ellis Genji against Tupou, if at all, tonight. Like I said in my preview, Genji came on in the second half. Tupou kind of was taken off just after halftime. Didn't really, I don't know if I can't even remember if we saw one, but did we see one? But it's just, again, something that it's something that, I thought, again, Tupou, I thought Tupou would have done a bit better, to be honest. But yeah, the Lions, Genj aside, was pretty ordinary tonight, in my opinion. A lot of, again, similar to what they did on Wednesday, just a lot of lateral movement, and then up and unders, and without Finn Russell and that bit of a, the bit of creativity that is spliced into the attack, and you just end up the team running sideways quite a bit. There was one part where Morgan Tuanui was upset. There was definitely a charge down, and then the referee said it was a knock on. Yeah, and Morgan Tuanui got a little bit emotional there, but I can understand. I thought, the referee at times, they do, like I said, the scrum, to me, it was the 50-50, and then he just kept on giving it to the Lions. Just says to me that he probably read something on the newspapers or had a chat with somebody somewhere. That felt like, that felt like the Lions had the ascendancy when they really did not have anything better than a 50-50 call there. So, in addition, I think the final thing I want to talk about before we go on the stats is the fact that, when the second half came on, the Lions really wanted to just make a statement and try to, put on a consolation try. Marcus Smith kicking the ball dead from a penalty, just getting turned over again and again at the breakdowns, just showed me once again the Lions mentally and emotionally can't handle the pressure. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that's exposed tonight. They could not really cope with the pressure. The fact that they were considered the big favorites in this game, they just couldn't quite live up to that. And then just like the compounding, the pressure just compounded, leading to more errors than they could have been performed. Again, very similar to what England does. England really, really good when it comes to smashing like the tier 2 nations, like maybe playing against Italy. And then when they go up against any sort of tough opposition, they just fold. They just try to cling on to a couple of 3 points for the win. And it kind of look like that to me quite a bit tonight out there for the Lions. Anyway, let's have a look at the match stats of the game. 2 tries to 3 for the Waratahs, both missed conversions. So the scoreboard could be a little bit closer, actually. 3 conversions for the Lions. It was interesting, the Tars did not have Crichton do the kicking. Crichton was a fullback. Crichton is actually a pretty decent goal kicker. So, I was surprised they didn't really. Maybe they want to give some new guys an opportunity. But, 72 carries for the Waratahs, 3 line breaks, 124 carries for the Lions, 9 line breaks. I don't know what this means, but 16 turnovers lost for the Waratahs. So this is like a double negative, right? Turnovers lost. What does that even mean? Like, you try to do a turnover and then you failed? Like, it's a double negative here. Like, what does it even mean? Please explain this to me. What does it even mean? Turnover lost. Like, you turn the ball over and then got penalized. Is that what turnover loss mean? Explain this to me. Somebody. I have no idea what this actually means. Territory, 31 for the Waratahs, 69 for the Lions, not able to score despite the overwhelming territory and possession as well. A lot of the game is played inside the Waratahs half, just not good enough for the Lions. Nice scrums, 71 scrum completion for the Waratahs, 100% for the Lions, and that's 71 means the Waratahs lost their own, and the Lions just compounded a lot of their feeds into penalties as well, especially when Genji came on. 14 lineouts for Waratahs, 64% completion rate. For the Lions, 100% once again. And the overall, I thought the Waratahs line-out more was actually a little bit better than the Lions. Both teams made the same mistake of like obstructing from the lift, moving yourself in front of the ball receiver as they come down. Both teams made the same mistakes there, but I thought the Waratahs actually had a better looking rolling more when they score. They're more try than the Lions kind of just piled in, and it was just part of a mess where someone with the Genji grounded the ball, I think. Passes, 89 for the Waratahs, 215 for the Lions. 72 carries for the Waratahs, 157 run meters. 124 carries for the Lions, 321 run meters overall. 3 line breaks for the Waratahs, 9 for the Lions. So not much more line breaks despite doubling the doubling the amount of run meters there. Again, turnovers won, turnovers lost. What does this mean? And the turnovers lost, it's the same stats. Yeah, but anyway, penalties conceded, 11 for the Waratahs, 13. Again, that's a pretty high penalty count considering against a team that should not be putting you under pressure to give away silly penalties. So 13 penalties conceded against the Lions just shows that inaccuracies around the breakdowns probably was one of the things that really hurt them. 149 tackles made for the Waratahs, 38 missed tackles, a lot of missed tackles, but they still hung in there. The Lions, 107 tackles made, 15 missed tackles, much better completion rate overall. Total kicks, 19 for the Waratahs and 25 for the Lions. Kick to pass ratio, 1 kick to every 4 passes, 1 kick to every 8 passes. The Lions definitely play more rugby in terms of the running game. So yeah, let's have a look at the score summary. So yeah, 6 minutes in, Paul Williams giving a scrum penalty. I thought for collapsing against the Waratahs. I thought again, it's literally like the first scrum, already full-on penalty. He did have a reset. Yeah, I thought it was just a bit too tough. 12 minutes in the game, Hugh Jones gets a short ball from Tuipulotu inside the 22 and runs straight through. Hugh Jones looked really good in the big, when he was on the field in the first half. He almost scored a couple of tries actually. Had 1 denied, so he scored a try there. 7 points to 0. So 29 minutes in, the Waratahs looked like they scored a try. There was lots of repeated penalties against the Lions. The Waratahs went for the line out, went for the maul, and then Charlie Gamble popped out the maul for the try, and then it was ruled that the maul was illegally blocked. The receiver was illegally blocked as they brought it down, so the try denied. Really, really sad there. 35 minutes in, there was a penalty against the Waratahs. The Lions went for the line out again. Hugh Jones, crash ball, try. This time he had a bit of a step for one of the defenders, and then just physicality ran himself through. 14 points to 0 for the Lions. 40 minutes into the game, just before halftime, the Waratahs hit the scoreboard before going to the change rooms. So there was some pretty good hands between the forwards out wide. Tupou to Leota to Lancaster down the sideline. And Hugo Keenan got speed bumped over, went in for the try. The referees, what TMO was saying, there was an illegal clean out. Clearly not. And then some people might say, oh, Lancaster was crawling on the ground. He wasn't helped. It's no one's in the vicinity to be tackling him, so he can definitely just get up and keep moving forward in that case because he wasn't tackled. So halftime score 5 points to 14. Second half, right from the kickoff, the Waratahs just went out full swinging. There was they immediately got a penalty from the kickoff. They went for the line out, had a maul. Again, this was much better than the first half. Nice executed rolling maul. The maul kind of moved forward a bit and then just rolled to the left-hand side for the try. 10 points to 14 for the Waratahs. And then just after this, Josh Van der Fleer had an opportunity to score a try into the corner. he grounds the ball and the ball bounced off his own hand, knocked on. There was a... Oh yeah, after this, there was a charge down where Morgan Tuanui and the referee ruled a knock on, and Morgan Tuanui was really, really confused and angry. And 54 minutes into the game, oh yeah, there was a bit of a weird situation. So the Waratahs had a short arm penalty for the scrum. I think it was for an early push in the scrum. And then the what's his name? Who was it? Sinclair maybe was someone was holding the ball, and then they were like just like kind of like, I guess they were kind of just like, you know, not really like moving around, but kind of just like passively like talking to players and maybe moving around. And the law basically says as soon as you move after the short arm's given, you're allowed to be charged down. And then he kind of panicked, you know, because he was moving around. He kind of panicked seeing the Lions player charge running up at him. So he passed the ball, and Tupou got the ball, kicked the ball out, and the referee ruled that he needed to tap the ball. He can't just pass the ball without tapping it. So then it turned into a scrum for the Lions. I thought it was a little bit weird because if he had to tap the ball, then the Lions couldn't charge him, right? But the law basically says once you move, you are allowed to be charged. So in the sense of a free kick, oh, I guess, yeah, okay, so he had to kick the ball. He can't move, but he had to kick the ball. So he can't just pass the ball without tapping the ball first. So I guess you can't do that either, can you? Even if you tap the ball first, you can't, yeah, basically you can't pass the ball. You have to kick it. So the Lions gets a scrum, and the scrum turning the penalty. Alex Mitchell, dummy and go, and from the Moor, he got the ball out from the back of the Moor, dummy and go, goes in for the try. 10 points to 21 for the Lions. And after that, 59 minutes, Ellis Genge got really close to scoring a try. Again, dropped the ball just over the try line, got knocked out of his hand. Really, really well done. And then just before full time, I swear, another line out, another more. Looks like Genjev scored. And then there was like illegal blocking from the lifter from the Lions. So a few disallowed tries due to silly knock on. And then, yeah, Marcus Smith kicking the ball dead for one of the penalties at the end as well. Just a sign of, you know, shaky mental state of mind from the Lions. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. And have a good one. Cheers.